Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you're watching this, it's 4:09 New York City time. This is a live show, so you can, when you're watching this video, over there in the YouTube comments, you type a comment, I can see it, and we have the opportunity to converse in real time. Now, unlike my other live shows that are more across the board, this live show is about two things. It's about DJI Phantom 5 and the Mavic Pro 2. And what I want to know, and you know, if you're watching this live right now, you can share your thoughts in real time, but you know, what are your thoughts about no Phantom 5 or no Mavic Pro 2 in calendar year 2017? Are you upset? Are you happy? You know, is this a positive? Nate's Rock says, I'm losing hope on the Phantom 5, very depressed. Now, are you losing hope permanently? Or is this a temporary loss of hope? Do you feel that it will come eventually? Maybe in 2018, or do you think it's just gone? Do you think we won't see a Phantom 5? It seems like it has been years. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, you know, the most recent, and tell me what y'all think, the most recent big thing that I can think of was the Phantom 3 Pro. You know, because that brought us the new communications system, which was greatly improved for FPV and controls, and it brought us 4K 30. But you know, since Phantom 3 Pro, we saw the smaller Mavic Pro with an inferior camera, and then we saw the super small Spark with inferior battery life and range and camera. Nate's Rock says, I sold my Phantom 4 in hopes that Phantom 5 would come out soon. I'm having drone withdrawals. You know, that's a serious thing. And, you know, it makes me wonder if there may be some entrepreneurial type startups to capitalize upon that. You know, people that are seriously suffering withdrawals because they don't have that new drone. You know, they get accustomed to this somewhat predictable release cycle, and then the manufacturer, DJI, they're just like, hey, I mean, what are they doing? You know, this is crazy. And a lot of people say, man, that's just drones, that stuff doesn't matter. But yeah, and that's a true statement. I mean, you know, if you're not interested in drones, that could be the case. Bruno says, I think that DJI will introduce the Phantom 5 next year. I'm with you on that, bud. Nate's Rog says he bought the Spark and sent it back. Well, yeah, it's, again, they're going to have, well, they should release something great the first quarter of next year. They're just going to lose that, you know, the customer's interest. And that's the biggest thing. You know, you go a long time without something new, people lose interest. I mean, say, for example, you watch a popular TV channel, and for 6 months, they put nothing on except reruns of some shows that are just horrible. But even if they release the best show ever 7 months after that, people would have dropped off because they lost interest. They tuned out of that, you know, they no longer flip to that channel because, like, man, you know, this used to be cool, but then they posted all this junk for like 6 months, so I'm just gonna, you know, drop it. So, you know, that's something that that's my fear with DJI. If the masses lose interest because of lack of newness, then oh, it's scary. God, we got tons of people. We got a lot of quiet people out there. Look at all these people tuned in live. You know, what do y'all think? The good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. Just say it. What do you think about there not being a Phantom 5 or a Mavic Pro 2 in calendar year 2017? I know we've got, Nate Sarag mentioned that he is suffering withdrawals from no Phantom 5 or Mavic Pro 2. How is this impacting you? So, well, while I wait for y'all to talk, I'll say how it's impacting me. It's really got me upset because, you know, Christmas is coming around, and obviously Christmas shouldn't be about gifts and toys and this, that, and the other. A lot of people center it around that. I don't. But I love gadgets, so, you know, I am I am extremely disappointed that I don't have that shiny new drone to take out in the field and unbox and see how well or how poorly it performs and share it with the world. Take it around the world. Adam says, still no competition. Do they need to bring out anything just now? No, they don't. You know, you nailed it, man. That's exactly right. You know, if you've got the perfect product. Rondo Skycam says, I'm just going to get the Phantom 4 Pro. Phantom 4 Pro is good. It really is. I'm walking up a hill trying to get rid of this gut. Art in the Adirondacks need to get at least in the beginning of 2018 or they lose the market. Very true. Yeah, if it ain't broke. And Jacob says exactly what Adam said. I agree, Adam. You know, Adam, I agree with you too, man. And that's, you know, if you're the best in class, then why invest that R&D money to create something new? And as long as your sales aren't slumping, you know, if you're selling the best product, which without a doubt, the Phantom and the Mavic Pro, they're the two best drones on the market today, no doubt. And I know there may be some outliers there that are loyal to some of the lesser known brands, and that's perfectly acceptable. But you know, if you posted a survey almost anywhere, an anonymous survey of people that are familiar with drones, and you just ask them and actually I need to do that. When this show concludes, I'll put a survey up because I want to know, you know, what people feel is the best drone. And they're probably going to say DJI Phantom. That's my assumption. But if it's not Phantom, it may be Mavic Pro. So stay tuned for that survey. Something I want to get up. But yeah, you're exactly right. No competition. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And yeah, I mean, they're in it. DJI's hit the point now to where they're no longer a new product that's being discovered. People know about them. So, you know, they don't really have to create all of the shock and awe to draw in new customers. They've already got a loyal customer base, including myself, and the thousands of viewers of this channel, and even people that don't watch this channel. But it's, yeah, they don't need to do anything. Now, do we want them to do something? Yeah, we do. You know, again, back to what Nate Sarag said, suffering drone withdrawals. Adam says next year will be groundbreaking, I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm with you on that, Adam, and I think, you know, this quiet time that we're seeing, hopefully they're using all of this money that they're making from selling different colored drones with minor updates. Maybe they're using that money to really pump it into R&D. Bob says DJI blew it when they had the audience to release the next superior drone, but instead released, sorry, my comments kind of, let me reread that. DJI is pinnacle of drone technology. If a new company comes out with something, DJI sues them for copyright issues. And then Nate Sarag says, I forget, when did the Phantom 4 Pro come out? The Phantom 4 Pro, wasn't that, I'd have to look back at my video history, but wasn't it right before, was it before Christmas of last year? But yeah, hopefully they're, I mean, I don't know, they need to be developing something really new. And, you know, maybe this is strategic. Maybe this is, yeah, I think Phantom 4 Pro was before Christmas of last year. But maybe it's strategic and they're waiting to see, is Apple going to execute with releasing Final Cut Pro 10 with spherical also known as 360-degree video or VR video editing capabilities. Because if they do that, DJI has a huge opportunity. They could bring the first very cool 360-degree spherical camera drone to market. It could be built upon Hasselblad technology. You know, if you watch some of the previous Epic Drone Show live shows, you know that I mentioned that DJI acquired Hasselblad, and that is a super duper high end. You know, if you think you know an expensive camera, it's a Canon or Sony, think again. Hasselblad is like the Bugatti of cameras, or I mean, it's not even the Rolls-Royce. That's too cheap. It's the Bugatti of cameras. So, you know, they acquired that technology. So, you know, why don't they take advantage of that acquisition and put it in one of their upcoming products? So, you know, that could explain the delay with releasing anything in calendar year 2017. So, you know, it's it's going to be interesting to say the least. It is going to be interesting. But can you imagine a 360-degree spherical camera for a DJI drone that in spherical mode will still look true 4K, 3840 by 2160 resolution? How cool would that be? It's going to be fun for sure. And, you know, that's why I popped up this live show. And probably, you know, when you were searching, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to subscribe. youtube.com/IrixGuy, and check out my website, IrixGuy.com. Got a ton of blog posts, ton of live shows. Adam says, must be hard to release something great while there's a lot of heat. Let's see. I'm on the mobile device. I had to pop that back up. Must be hard to release something great while there's a lot of heat from it. Maybe they're letting things cool off. You know, that's a good theory as well. And speaking of that, something we all need to do as responsible and like-minded drone hobbyists, we need to be drone evangelists. And I am the drone evangelist. Go to droneevangelist.com and you can listen to some of my sermons that are pro responsible drone use. You know, we need to spread the positive message. You know, we all become drone evangelists, and we spread that positive message: safe, responsible, and fun drone use. Nate's Rock says, I read DJI is valued at over $30 billion. Wow. That could buy a nice boat. You know, and that's the other thing. You know, is this a company that's Broad's Drone? Hey dude, welcome aboard, bro. Welcome aboard, everyone. We got a huge audience today. Again, broadcasting live from a mobile device. We may get a little bit of reception issues as I go through the valley, but we'll see. At the time of speaking, it's 4:23 p.m. New York City time. Adam says, all the rules and regs may release something we can't use legally by the time it's released. Very good point. And I agree wholeheartedly with your statement, because, you know, that may be the reason we've seen hesitation from big players like Apple, Google, Microsoft. You know, the big money players that would otherwise maybe try to establish a dominant presence within this space, and they haven't seemed to express any public interest, and that could be the reason. You know, they're waiting for these uncertainties, because can you imagine if you made a car today that ran on let's say it ran on mercury? That car would never be able to be sold or driven, because, you know, as you know, mercury is extremely poisonous. So, you know, it's the same kind of thing if they released, you know, to your point, they spend all this money and create the perfect drone, and then they say, well, that's not allowed because of law so-and-so, so-and-so, and did you know that plastic that you used in the drone came from a tree that is in the endangered, it's on the endangered list, and if you don't recall that drone ASAP, you will be destroyed. Ha ha. You never know. You never know. So, yeah, I mean, this is great. So what else do y'all think? I mean, we got the, you know, the regulatory concerns. We've got the, well, hey, there's no competition, why should we release something? We've got the Broad's Drone says, looks like next year we will have to be registered to fly drones here in the United Kingdom. Let's see, I got to pop that back up and scroll by quickly. Plus having to pass some sort of test for hobbyists. Well, that's interesting because Tommy, welcome aboard, man. Yeah, just a little bit all over, primarily in the Caribbean. There we go. Yep, so it's going to be an interesting, I don't know, what do y'all think? Let's look at this from another perspective. Do you think that drones as a whole are just going to flop? Do you think that people, you know, to your point you just made about United Kingdom, that people are like, well, you know, I got to do all this to participate in this hobby. Is that going to deter people from becoming involved with the hobby? Will they feel like because they purchase a drone for hobby purposes, for hobbyist purposes, that they're somehow targeted? Do you think, I mean, can you imagine if you had to get if you had to pass a written test and take a urine sample to get a bicycle to ride recreationally? You probably wouldn't see as many people riding bicycles because it's silly. You know, why would someone have to get drug tested and take a competency test on the road and all that just to ride a bicycle recreationally? So, you know, non-motorized vehicle, pedestrian. Interesting. Now I'm going through the valley here, so if we get a little bit of intermittent glitches with this video, that's why, but I'll be right back if I glitch out, so don't worry. Man, we got a ton of people tuning in. Again, Adam says, if it was included in the fly more combo, then test or training would be beneficial to all. Here in Brazil, we have to purchase. To register. Huh, interesting. It's funny how these regulations vary among countries. It's yeah, it's hard to know what's next, and you know how it's going to change the space as a whole, you know. And then you've got the big commercial players that, you know, their hands are kind of tied because they can't. There we go. Sorry about that. I warned y'all when I walked through the video that I may have mobile connectivity issues, and I did, but now I'm out of the valley, so let's continue. Everybody's tuning back in. Again, sorry for that connectivity issue. I'm muggy because my work has sent me to RPQ course. Huh. Let's see here. Rando says, thanks for your videos. You are our spokesperson, our voice. Very cool, thanks. Well, you know, it's not me. It's just the thing here. It's a combined interest of all of us and the common goal. You know, we have, us being hobbyists, sorry, I'm going up a big hill, it's wearing me out. We have a common goal, and that goal is to have fun, but also to do things that enable this hobby to continue to exist. I mean, if it becomes so regulated, I agree with the laws to regulate the use of the drone. That's what Bruno says. Yeah, I think some degree of regulation is acceptable, but you know, it's like anything else, it's a slippery slope, and I don't know. You know, if you do enough to deter the less than responsible people from being able to fly, that's a good. But if you impose so much regulation that the responsible people begin feeling like it's a burden to enjoy the hobby because of all the regulations, that's a problem. Because when people don't enjoy the hobby, then there's going to be less people promoting the hobby. When less people promote the hobby, manufacturers start to drop off. You know, why try to sell something that people aren't interested in? Good example, and this isn't really an extreme example, but it's a relevant example. You know, look at skateboarding back in the early 80s and, you know, maybe the 70s. Skateboards were hot. You could go everywhere. Tons of wheels, tons of skateboards. Try selling skateboards today. There's still interest, but it's minimal compared to what it once was. And my fear is that overregulation of drones could create the same problem for responsible drone hobbyists. So, yep. And I mean, I don't know. Is that why we're seeing DJI? I mean, I know they don't have competition, and that's what I want to believe, that they're not releasing a new product this year because they have no financial reason to do so. They're selling what they already have, and they're making a lot of money. But could it be that DJI is delaying because of some upcoming regulations that maybe only they and some of the industry leaders are privy to? Let's see. Bruno says some people used to film bank agencies to film prisons and delivery drugs to prisoners. See, again, an illegal use of a drone. And see, that's the kind of, unfortunately, that the media gets all over it, and it gives drones a bad name. There we go, back again. I think drones need to be like motorbikes, need to be regulated, but we'll always get the irresponsible users. That's a good point. And you know, motorbikes, that's something that, you know, yeah, you gotta have a license, you gotta pass a test, but to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I've got a motorcycle license as well. I've got a vessel license, a motorcycle license, and a driver's license for a vehicle. So, you know, I've done them all. And since I have those licenses, you know, I know that if I'm operating any of that equipment, that, you know, hopefully I won't catch any flack if I'm using it properly. I mean, if I'm obeying the established traffic signals, and, you know, I'm in a fit condition to operate that machinery, have a reasonable expectation that everything should be fine. I should be able to go out and cruise down the road and have a good time. So now, if that was the type of regulation that was present for drones and they would stop there, I think that would be great. I mean, inevitably anything can be misused. And, you know, and not that it makes it any different, but, you know, a drone does go in the air. But, I mean, how many times in your backyard, and when I'm saying your backyard, I'm saying a safe distance from airports, just in your backyard, a safe distance from airports. How many times have you seen an airplane over your house less than a few hundred feet? So, personal belief is that, yeah, 400 feet's great for recreational flight, but I would think that if something was 100 or 150 feet, they need to impose something new that just says, hey, you know, as long as you're X miles from an airport, you know, if you're keeping it under 100 feet, you know, I would hope that, you know, 30 miles from an airport, if someone was flying a drone less than 100 feet, I would hope there wouldn't be any interference with any sort of aircraft. I mean, that's crazy. So, I don't know, it's just when you get into regulatory speak, when you get into talking about regulations, it's always a sticky subject because, you know, you got the people that's just what they love, you know. Even if they're not a lawyer, they just love that legal stuff. You know, they love creating conflict from a legal perspective. So, you know, one lawyer does one thing, and then another one does another thing, and they leave the verbiage so open-ended that the end result is that often what's created is such confusion that, you know, you read it one way, it can be interpreted this way. You read it another way, it can be interpreted another way. So for the safe and responsible drone hobbyists, when they read it, they're like, man, whatever I do, I'm probably going to be at risk. I don't know if I want to be part of this hobby. So it's, I don't know, there's just so many people, the regulators, there's so many of them that have no vested interest in the drone hobby whatsoever. There's people that would love to write a law just for the sake of writing a law. And there's people that would love to enforce a law just for the sake of enforcing a law. So those governing bodies, they may or may not care anything about the hobby. They may not even understand the hobby. Bruno says, now in Brazil, police can take any drone without registration. Interesting. Man, it's, again, that regulation is a slippery slope. I mean, I don't know. But what about the Phantom 5 and the Mavic Pro 2? Do y'all think the lack of interest that DJI has expressed in releasing that in 2017, do y'all think that's in any way related to the possibility of upcoming heightened regulations? Or like many of y'all have said, including myself, do you think it's just because they have no competition and they have no sense of financial urgency to bring something new to the playing field rather? You know, I mean, there's so many ways to look at this. One thing's for sure, whether you're interested in the drone hobby or not, which I love the drone hobby, and I'm, you know, like Nate Sarag, I'm suffering withdrawals. There's no Phantom 5 and there's no Mavic Pro 2. But whether you enjoy the drone hobby or not, one thing's for sure, this industry, even if you're just watching it from the sidelines, the drone industry is fascinating. And I just hope that we don't get the plug pulled so that it collapses and dissolves. I mean, that's my biggest fear. And you know, it's ever since they came out, you know, Phantom 1 through present, I knew that here on the IrixGuy Adventure channel, not just IrixGuy Adventure channel, but 400orbelow.com, epicdroneshow.com, aerialrights.com, droneevangelist.com. I'm all over it. You know, this is important stuff. Brawler's Drone, I think you're correct. It has been moving so fast the last couple of years, and DJI has very little proper competition. And I've had to flash this back up here. Hey, Raj, do you think they could make a stealth drone? That would solve a lot of issues with noise that people hate. And that's what's ridiculous. People say they hate the noise of drones. I mean, come on. We've heard, if we're hobbyists, we've probably heard at least DJI Phantom Fly. We may have heard of Mavic Pro. We may have heard of Spark. You may have even heard that big and obnoxious Inspire. You know, again, it's too big, it's too heavy for me. But even that big and heavy Inspire, I've never listened to that and be like, man, that's annoying. I mean, there's so many sounds that are in this world that are very irritating, and I don't consider the noise of a drone to be one of them. You should hear the Matrice fly. Oh, you fly the Matrice. That's right, you mentioned that during a previous live show. Do you use it for, what attracted you to the Matrice? Man, burning calories, talking drones. 183 calories, 1.86 miles so far since I've started this live show. Bruno says maybe the next version DJIs can bring a new project with a different design, a minor battery consumption. Brawls Drone says it's the work, oh, the fire service, very cool. Here's one right here. Nate's Rock says we could fly national parks without bothering the tree huggers visiting the park. Some beautiful areas we can't fly due to noise. Well, you know, as much as I hate to say this, despite the noise levels of the drones, you know, since they've enacted that, to my knowledge, and again, I'm not a lawyer, you know, check with your local governing department or whatever, but to my knowledge, most every national park is probably a no-fly zone now. And the disheartening part is that even, you know, even if, to Nate's Rog's point, even if that was a silent drone, it would still be in violation. There's pumpkins over here. Check this out. That's crazy. Growing out here in the field, I guess. Isn't that weird? That somebody just dumped their Halloween stuff. But anyway, whatever it may be, I think, I don't know. And that, you know, that would be one of the optimal locations, because number one, it's probably a remote area. It doesn't have, you know, any sort of traffic that the drone could interfere with. And number two, as far as the footage is collected, I think it would be, you know, it'd be a great location. But Nate's Rock says, so do you walk 2 miles a day? Typically 2 to 5, because I'm trying to get unfat, because I'm fat. but that's not going to slow down the live streaming, because this is important too. But man, we've had a big audience for this, and this was such a, you know, such a simplistic yet important topic. Bruno says, Irix, what do you think about your leg that you hurt? Are you still okay? Actually, there's the damage right there. Yeah, I was so worn out that I was walking with a shopping cart, and I hit a bump in the parking lot, and I fell over the shopping cart, and all my groceries came out, and then I hit my leg on the shopping cart. And but I didn't know if it was broken or not, so what I did, I just walked 3 miles, and I didn't collapse, so I figured it was okay, and I never went to the doctor. Brawls Drone says, I was talking to a ranger today at one of our reserves here in the United Kingdom, and he said honestly that drones have very little impact on the environment and nature. Yep. And you know what would be funny? If some of the people with the big money pressed hard and said, you know, what's the environmental impact? I'm sure that some of the creatives would have come up with an answer, and try to come up with something that was palatable excuse for why there shouldn't be allowed. But that's what I think. I mean, why doesn't a company like DJI really get behind the movement and try to try to really push these agencies to lighten up. Appreciate it, man. Yep, still walking, still ticking. So it wasn't anything too catastrophic from the shopping cart accident, but yeah, I mean, ban shopping carts. You know, they can be dangerous. Braw's drone. The biggest issue is the danger to aircraft and privacy issues. You know, speaking of privacy issues, and this is something funny, people, and I love the Amazon Echo. It's a great device, personal assistant. I tell Alexa to set my alarm clock. I tell Alexa to order laundry detergent. I tell Alexa to turn my lights on and off. But there's a large camp of people that wouldn't allow an Amazon Echo in their house because of privacy concerns. My philosophy, and again, we all have different opinions in regards to this, and that's perfectly acceptable. But my thoughts are, you know, I don't have anything that I'm doing that I'd want to hide. So, you know, since I'm not any sort of criminal, I don't care. I mean, you know, privacy concerns I think it's nice to be able to have privacy, but I don't think that if there was lack of privacy that there would be anything, you know, that would be of concern, if that makes sense. But that's what I hate. People, and I ran into one of those people. I was flying in a safe, and I told this story during a previous live show, but I was flying in a safe, legal, and responsible location. And I noticed this guy across the field, and he was just looking at me really mean. And then, you know, about 20 minutes later, this guy comes up in the field. And I was flying my drone. Obviously, I was maintaining line of sight to be safe and responsible. And he kind of startled me, and I put the controller down. And he's all heated. And, you know, body language says a lot. You know, when you walk up to somebody, before somebody says something, their body language will often indicate where their body language will often indicate the tone of the encounter. And this person was extremely upset. And what was funny, I didn't exhibit any form of being startled or anything. I was just, you know, hey, what's going on? And, you know, they've got the constant, they stick to they're very irritated, this, that, and the other. And they said, well, you know, what are you doing out here? What are you doing in the field? You know, you can't drive in the field, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, actually, is this your field? And he paused for a minute, and he said, no. He said, no. I said, yeah. I said, it's public property. And I said, I've got as much right to be on this field as you. And he said, well, y'all are tearing that field up with those truck tires and this, that, and the other. Because what I was doing, I was out there with my truck, and I was doing some segments. I was doing a follow me, so it could, you know, use the what do you call it? The vision active track, the visual tracking, to track my truck through a field. So that guy walked off. I mean, I guess he was just irritated because I didn't really seem to care, and I knew what I was doing. I knew where I was, and I knew that he was just a jerk, but I didn't exhibit any sort of body language and or say anything to indicate that. So he walked off, and a few minutes later, there was a guy in the same field that was playing golf, obviously at a safe distance, but he also had his vehicle parked in the field. So I noticed the police roll up. The policia came out, and they got on the guy playing golf, and I noticed he moved his car to the side of the field. And then they came up to me, and I'm like, okay, you know, what's going on? They said, sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. I said, okay. They said, well, not you, but just your vehicle. So I had to park my vehicle on the side of the field on the street. And then I walked back out there and flew my drone with the cops. They were curious about the drone too. They found entertainment value in flying the drone. So the bottom line is that guy just wanted to create a problem. Whether in his mind, you know, he could have been the person that would have said privacy violation. He could have been the person that said whatever. But what he felt he could say, just because he was jealous that that I was flying a drone and he wasn't, the best he could come up with is that I was allegedly putting ruts in the field because my truck was driving through it. Well, you know, I stood to what was right. I got to fly my drone with the police. Who cares? So, you know, stick to, you know, if you know your rights, you know where you are, you're safe and responsible. Brawl's Drone says, we're flying Inspire over a field, and a lady called because we were apparently watching her hang her laundry out. Wow. He says, we were on flight test, photoing a building under construction on a private field we had permission to fly on. I mean, again, that's another great example, man. You know, people see these things, and people often have a fear of something they can't understand, especially when you're dealing with technology. And to have a piece of technology that potentially has a camera attached to it, and it flies through the sky, and it's controlled remotely, that's just too much for a lot of people to fathom. And it's sad, but it's reality. You know, it's this overly sensitive world that we all live in today. You know, you can't just enjoy something and have fun. You know, people have got to somehow complain and try to make that fun no longer exist. So yeah, you know, this all ties in. You know, this show, no Phantom 5 and no Mavic Pro 2 in 2017. Everything that we've all come together and discussed today, this all ties in. And it helps to paint a better picture as to why we are not going to see Phantom 5 and Mavic Pro 2 this year. And hopefully we see it next year, because, you know, if we don't, people are going to start losing interest. But think about it from this angle. What if they are creating this temporary lack of interest, not just from the hobbyist, but to take away the interest from the media? You know, if drones become yesterday's big thing, then they're no longer in the spotlight. So if they're no longer in the spotlight, from a regulatory perspective, that could be a huge win. But if they're no longer in the spotlight from a sales perspective, that could be a huge failure. So it's a double-edged sword. I don't think there's really any right or wrong answer for this, and we can all continue to speculate. But, you know, all I got to say in conclusion is that what we need to do, again, spread the safe, responsible drone use. You know, anytime you have a chance, be a drone evangelist. If you're on an elevator, if you're at a bus station, if you're at a bowling alley, you know, wherever you may be, talk about drones in a positive way. And tell people what you've done that day, maybe not even that day, but that week, that painted a positive image for drones. Brawl's Drone says, do you think that now the Mavic is so popular, DJI will ever bring out the Phantom 5? Is there still a market for the Phantom series? Actually, I think there's a huge market, and I think probably what we're going to see, we may see a more prosumer version of the Mavic Pro, and then we may see even a pro version of the Phantom. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't add modular camera capabilities. There's no reason they couldn't add a brand new, you know, Hasselblad camera to the Phantom series. So that would still be very portable, but very capable. And then you've got, you know, the Mavic Pro that's a lot more portable, but still capable, and they could even make it more capable. You know, throw a 4K 60 on the Mavic Pro 2 that'll outperform, you know, any camera that's out there today, and you've got a total win. I think the platform that could go away could be, well, I think they're going to keep the Spark because it's just a cheap and fun. Well, it's not cheap right now, but it's the lowest price point for DJI drones. It's perceived as being the most accessible from a financial perspective. But I think it'll stick around. I don't know if the Inspire is going to stick around. I think they'll probably, and I know they've created all these new cameras for it. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see the Inspire be a product that breaks off from what we know of as DJI today and becomes one of the products for a sister company. You know, it would seem that they would want to segment their hobbyist and prosumer drones from the ultra big, the ultra heavy drone. Jacob says, I saw in the news that it is just a matter of time when drone will hit a plane. Let's see. Please, people, fly safe and responsible so it won't happen. Yeah, no doubt. You know, and if you're aware of where you are, you've read all of the guidelines, and not just aware of where you are from an app perspective, but you actually drive your vehicle around that area as a secondary validation that that there's no airports or anything like that nearby. Now, keep in mind, you always need to be situationally aware, because, say for example, you're in the middle of nowhere, yet there's a major traffic accident on the interstate. Well, often when that happens, they'll have to fly in helicopter support, helicopter ambulance, medevac. So, you know, if you hear something coming, you know, be familiar enough with that drone to where you can retain line of sight and quickly identify that incoming obstacle and take your drone down to the ground. I mean, even if you have to crash your drone, you know, do it in a safe and responsible location so it doesn't interfere with the flow of unexpected air traffic, emergency air traffic like that. You know, in that scenario, you would have no idea that would be coming. But you know, people don't know that the car wrecks are going to occur, and that car wrecks may require medevac. So, you know, keep that in mind. And I mean, it's challenging. And I mean, I honestly, for my flying purposes, 50 or 60 feet above the ground and I'm golden. I mean, I can get, you know, good aerial image or whatever, video. Because when you go up closer to 400 feet, you're losing detail on the ground, so it's not as visually pleasing to watch. So anyway, bonjour, quel c'est site de quoi parlez-tu? I wish I spoke. I will tell you, I speak a few languages, but when it comes to, I think that was French, I don't really know I don't know how to speak it, but yeah. Anyway, it's about 5 p.m. New York City time. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Check out all the latest drones. Go to epicdroneshow.com and share this video and any of my videos with others. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day.